Some alleged plot details have surfaced on the internet regarding James Gunn's upcoming Superman film, which he renamed from Superman Legacy. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and this rumor, isn't that artwork? That artwork is gorgeous. I love that artwork. But this rumor comes from ex-user Rejected Scooper. But he claims, if we scroll down here real quick, he claims it comes from the Geeky Cast. This is what it says here. Other superheroes are edgy and kill when necessary. Superman is an outcast among them for his optimism and no-kill rule, and ultimately inspires them to change their ways. Lex Luthor is war profiteering on an armed conflict in a foreign nation called Jarhan Puria, per IMDb. That's an absolutely terrible name. Jarhan Puria? I'm not familiar with that. I don't even know if that's in DC. But that's an awful name. I can think of something better than that. He goes on and says Superman intervenes in the conflict, and the U.S. government deploys a clone created by Luthor dubbed Ultraman to arrest him. Ultraman deteriorates into Bizarro and goes rogue. Superman and his friends must stop him, while Lois Lane and the Daily Planet staff work to expose Luthor for his crimes. The movie reportedly ends with Superman revealing his secret identity to Lois, Luthor avoiding repercussions for his crimes and announcing he is running for president, and Supergirl arriving on Earth, plus other DCU setups like the Engineer getting recruited into the Authority. So that is these plot details here from the Geeky Cast as reported by Rejected Scooper. Sounds pretty generic, sounds pretty basic. Superman basically gets arrested for trying to put a stop to this armed conflict in this foreign nation. And then it's revealed that maybe Luthor's behind it all. Ultraman deteriorates, goes crazy. Superman has to stop him. And I guess his super friends have to stop him. They do. He reveals his identity to Lois. And it sets up a sequel with Luthor, I guess, running for president and protecting himself from Superman through the presidency. And then Supergirl shows up, and then obviously setting up the Authority film with the Engineer. So just sounds pretty basic, but I think a lot of this stuff does appear to be accurate because we've seen a lot of rumors about this. So we see this character here that looks more like Black Noir from The Boys than Ultraman. He's in a black suit, black hood, black goggles. But he does have a U on his outfit, I guess, signaling that he is Ultraman. So this is a set photo indicating that Ultraman is there. Obviously, it looks like Superman is being arrested by Ultraman and a bunch of people in the military. This is the Engineer right here. And I think this is Rick Flag here as well. So definitely looks like Superman has been detained. And then we also had this rumor here from Grace Randolph that there was indeed going to be an armed conflict. It was supposed to be taking place in the Middle East, at least when she shared this in July 2023. She said this: Superman legacy conflict in Middle East. Superman wants to stop it one way. Other heroes disagree. Lex Luthor is also trying to negotiate peace his own way. Obviously, one would assume he's doing that in order to profit off of it, given the war profiteering. And then it says the Authority was a misdirect. Clever. It's actually a JSA type team or the actual JSA. So they're obviously trying to stop Ultraman, I guess is what it will turn into. So she does indeed. We do have this conflict in this foreign country, though, here that Grace said. And by February 2024, she said that it had been switched from a nondescript country in the Middle East to Eastern Europe. And we also had the script changes being confirmed by not only this actor Basim Youssef, but also James Gunn himself. Youssef told Salon here, he said, I was a little bitter about losing the role. I was kind of very sad. Why in the United States of America can you talk about Joe Biden and you can talk about Donald Trump, but you cannot criticize a foreign government? which is kind of very sad. And then because of that, I was cast in the movie Superman. And then they told me we changed the script after the Piers Morgan interview. So there you go. He says they changed the script and they kind of like decided not to use him in the film. Gunn and DC would fire back via an article at IGN that confirmed the script was changed. A source informed the Alex Stebbin that Yusuf was dropped before the Piers Morgan interview. Stebbin wrote this. A source close to the production, however, disputes Yusuf's timeline, telling IGN that Yusuf's character was dropped from Superman Legacy well before the Piers Morgan interview. According to our source, writer-director James Gunn was indeed in talks with Yusuf to play the character Ruman Jafti. The character was dropped entirely from the script, though, by at least September before the Morgan interview. Therefore, the source says Yusuf was never offered the role to begin with, and the issue does indeed come down to script changes and the character being cut altogether. Gunn actually reacted to this on X and said this is accurate. So confirming that the script was indeed changed from conflict in the Middle East to this potential conflict in this Eastern European country. So I think there's a lot of, there looks to be a lot of truth to this plot based on things we've seen from other rumors and confirmation of those rumors. Here's what we do know from James Gunn. In March 2023, he said the film would center, quote, around Superman's heritage, how both his aristocratic Kryptonian parents and his Kansas farmer parents inform who he is and the choices he makes. DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran would also inform Variety in June 2023, saying that it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He also added that Superman, quote, is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. I think that kind of maybe confirms or at least points to the accuracy that he has a no-kill rule. One thing that we didn't really get, obviously, it says that Superman and his super friends have to fight against Bizarro, but it doesn't really provide any details about them. And we do have a bunch of super friends, superhero characters that aren't really mentioned. Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Edie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl, and then Anthony Kerrigan as Metamorpho. It also makes no mention of Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord. So obviously there's still a lot of things we don't know based on these plot details. But as for Supergirl, there's also been rumors about her as well. This one came from Daniel RPK back in December 8, 2023, shared to X by Home of DCU. It says that, according to Daniel RPK, Supergirl will appear in Superman Legacy, and they are currently casting the character. This was corroborated by the DCEU Leaks subreddit, where they said the character would appear in the film, but would be limited to a cameo. Then obviously had talking about casting details and things like that, which have already kind of been confirmed. So that is the latest on the Superman movie. Looks kind of basic. I think a trailer is really going to determine whether or not this is going to be something worth watching. Right now, I'm like kind of unimpressed by how we've seen the designs for Clark Kent. I think the Superman suit is also needs to be a little bit better. But at the end of the day, those are things you can kind of get over if the story is really good. And it looks like it might actually have a decent moral to it. Superman putting a stop to a clone that goes crazy and deteriorates into Bizarro. He's got to put a stop to that, and probably could have some good philosophical questions in that and good morality to it. So there is a possibility that it could be really good. Obviously, I think there's a big fear that Lex Luthor will be a stand-in for Donald Trump, especially given the fact that it says there he's going to be running for the presidency and things like that. We know what James Gunn's politics are and what Hollywood's politics are. So I think that could be that's a huge red flag that could really kind of harm this film. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But nothing really big red flags here in this plot leak. Seems like a pretty simple, basic Superman story. I do think there's a lot of room that still needs to be filled out, obviously, with the Super Friends, the Justice League, etc. What their role is going to be. and how all this stuff is going to play out and how Lois Lane is going to be depicted and what her relationship with Clark Kent and Superman is going to be. Is she going to be a girl boss, kind of putting him in his place all the time? So we'll see how that goes too, because that's obviously something that they could easily fall into, which would definitely be a massive red flag and basically, in my opinion, make this a dead on arrival film. But we'll see what James Gunn does. We'll see what DC has in store. I really think that this film has to be a banger, or the entire future of the DC film universe is at stake. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.